So let me tell you how I got into the media business. I lived in Oakland, California, actually grew up there and worked for a telecom company. And if you've read my book or heard my story, I really didn't graduate from college till I was 31. I started working for this company as a tax manager, and it was so boring. But I met a CFO, and one of the things I write about in my book is about advocacy. So this gentleman took a liking to me. He's like, why are you in finance? Like, you should be in sales. He goes, I'm not going to give you the job, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the person who can hire you. So I met this young lady, sat down for the interview, her zipper was down. And I was like, should I tell her zipper's down? So I said, your zipper's down. She goes, oh my God, thank you. I've talked to 20 people today, no one's told me. So she hired me. I took a pay cut. Long story short, I asked the question, if I'm gonna be in sales, who makes the most money? And they're like, you gotta get in cable sales, you gotta get in TV sales. So there was a program called the Walter Cates Foundation. At the time, what they did is they took talented people who had a certain set of skills and they placed them into the cable business because, as we know, still today is still not diverse enough. So I got a job, and I'll make this quick, but I had an offer from VH1 and the Weather Channel. I called a good friend of mine, had 2 Harvard degrees. I said, where do I go? He says, you gotta go to the Weather Channel because you'll be different, you'll be memorable. People like, Michelle and the Weather Channel. And it was a great strategy, and I've been in the business ever since and have been moving up the ladder, as we say, but I'm not done. I'm not done. You know what the biggest challenge has been? And it took me, what am I, 51? Me. Because I made so many excuses. So if I had to think of my biggest challenge, I got in my own way. I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't take a seat at the table when I had earned the right. I didn't demand what I had earned. I wasn't prepared with information about me as a Black woman and being a consumer and how valuable I am. I wasn't my own focus group. So I could tell you a million reasons, right? And one of the things that I love to preach about is we have to take ownership for our future and our opportunity to grow. And so now that I'm taking full ownership and putting a plan and strategy together based on all of the awareness that is around me, I've been able to move. So I don't accept any excuses from myself, from my team, from my kids. We really have to understand the culture we live in and be the best we can in that environment, period. Oh man, a woman who inspires me. Oh gosh, there's so many. Well, let me say this, that I had an opportunity to be part of my grandmother's life, and she died at 100. And I can tell you this, she never had a big house. She never had a job that you would think of as great in today's society, but she laughed every day. If you called her, she was happy, even through illness and struggles, and one husband and another husband, and losing 3 of her children before she passed. Never did a day go by that she was not grateful to be alive. She actually dedicated her life to God at 87. She worked in my dad's restaurant till she was 89, and when he passed away, took the wind out of her sails a little bit. But let me tell you something, if I can be 100 and still laugh and smile and be grateful for all of our blessings, even when they're not what the world would say are great, I've lived a great life, and I honor her for that. So listen, we're still working on diversity and inclusion in the media space, and we're still, trying to bring ourselves, full selves to work as women, as Black women, as women of color. And what I've learned is a couple things. This business has not changed fast enough. And I always say I dance a little bit because my daughter's 13 and I don't want her to have to do the same dance. That to me would be a failure. Bringing your full self to work is a game, a little bit. And I'm just being real candid. I'm a girl from Oakland. So I now work in a place that I can be free. And there are places that I couldn't be free. Be real transparent. And they weren't the right fit for me because I didn't grow based on my contribution. I didn't grow based on my give back, on the revenue that I generated, on the leadership that I exhibited even when I didn't have a team. And so what we have to do is we have to make a decision. Where can I be my full self? Where is that acceptable? Where can I grow? And where can I, the most important thing, hire other people who have the same opportunity? And that is what my commitment is. I had a gentleman who hired me, and he says, you know what, Michelle, I'm gonna hire you even though you were real raggedy in this interview and one of your references didn't pan out. And that's in my book. Even though I had vetted him, he said, because what I'm going to ask you to do is when you're sitting in my seat, because I know you have the ability, you have to do the same thing. And that's how I live my life. So can one person make a difference when it comes to diversity and inclusion? Absolutely. Can people bring their full selves to work? You should be able to, but you got to find the right environment or you're not going to get what you're supposed to get. You're not going to walk in your destiny. Nothing. Nothing. You know why? Because I wouldn't have gone through the things that I've gone through to be where I am. You know, I'm a woman of faith, and I believe that everything comes in its right time. I could look back and say, if I had done this, I had done that, I wrote my book 20 years earlier, but I wrote it in a time where I believe women need it. I wrote it in a time where I think it's going to have its most impact, so I don't question anything. What I'm doing is making sure that my daughter doesn't make the same mistakes, that she doesn't have the same challenges, that she has an opportunity to be better and faster and stronger quicker. Not only my daughter, but all the little girls that are coming up today. And you know what, if I can expand upon that, and I have a son, and I want him to find a wife who is beautiful, and I want my daughter to find a young man who is smart and has the same opportunity. So I wrote a book for women, but trust me, I'm not trying to leave our men behind. It's really important to me that women have advocates that are men, that my daughter has friends that are boys, not boyfriends, boys. But I wouldn't change anything, not for me. I'm trying to change things for other people so that they have an opportunity before they begin their journey that they can do things in a different way. That is my calling and my anointing.